Tires and brake pads are two of the most important and personal choices autocrossers make when building their cars. And because these parts are consumables, we get to make these choices over and over as new products come out and our skill level increases. When I autocrossed Thoroughbred in 2016, I was using Nitto NTO5 tires and Hawk HPS brake pads. The NTO5 tires are 200 treadwear, but they are far from top-tier autocross tires. The HPS brake pads are a big step up from OEM or auto parts store pads, but are still considered street pads. KMT is a tough class. It's not uncommon to be battling cars with 315s and Brembo brakes. I'm not cutting up my Fox to fit massive tires, and I'm keeping the OEM Cobra brakes, so I need to choose my tires and brake pads wisely to get the most grip and bite. Let's get things rolling with the tires. I'm running American Muscle FR500 18x9-inch rims. In 2016, I had two 55/35/18 tires up front and two 75/35/18 tires in the rear. And while my suspension mods allowed me to dial out the understeer created by the staggered setup, I couldn't rotate the tires. Because of that, my tires didn't last very long before the edges got worn out. This time around, I'm going to run a square setup. And because I won't be rolling, cutting, or flaring my fenders, my tire width options will be limited. Most people would say my choice is easy. Go with the widest tires that I can fit on the car. But the idea that tire sizes are standardized is one of the biggest myths in the tire industry. A 245/40/18 from one manufacturer isn't necessarily going to be the exact same size as a 245/40/18 from another brand, and they might not be designed to fit the same range of rim widths. Section width and tread width also come into play when you're trying to fit the most rubber under your car, but size isn't everything. How the tires respond to inputs and heat, the clarity of feedback they provide, and how they feel at the limit are also very important factors. Mustangs are heavy cars. Even at the 3,000-pound minimum weight in KMT, our cars are going to put a lot of heat in the tires out on course. And if you're racing in 80, 90, or 100-degree weather in the summer, you want a tire that likes heat. The two most popular tires for autocross are the BF Goodrich G-Force Rival S 1.5 and the Bridgestone Potenza RE71R. I've used both of these tires and driven many Mustangs that run them. Due to differences in width, I had the option of running a 245/40/18 Rival S 1.5 or a 255/35/18 RE71R. The Rivals don't come in a 255 width for 18-inch rims, and the tread width on a 245/40/18 RE71R is 8.6 inches compared to 9.1 inches for the Rival. Using the 245/40/18 RE71R would cost me 1 inch of grip per axle. I'm not a fan of the RE71R for several reasons. The feedback is really crisp, but they can feel jittery if your corrections aren't perfect. They get hot and greasy quickly on heavy cars, and they're not the longest lasting tires out there. There are, however, many people who think the RE71R is the best autocross tire on the market. Because tires are a choice that's heavily impacted by driving style and suspension mods, you might want to consider the RE71R. But for Thoroughbred, I chose the 245/40/18 Rival S 1.5. They offer consistent feedback all the way up to the limit, great feedback and composure at the limit, they love heat, and they last longer under autocross conditions. I used the previous version of the Rivals on my other cars for years, and the level of grip is unbelievable. They are the most confidence-inspiring tires I've ever used. The large outer tread blocks make the car feel like it's pulling the pavement off the ground as it attacks the slaloms and powers around sweepers. I don't have a ton of negative camber up front, and I've got a solid rear axle out back. I'm going to be using the edges of my tires a lot out on course. Running the 245/40/18 rivals on 9-inch rims means my section width and tread width end up being about 0.2 of an inch narrower than the 255/35/18 RE71R would be. Yes, I'm losing 0.4 of an inch of grip per axle, but I'm gaining composure, consistency, and longevity. 200 treadwear autocross tires are kind of like gremlins. They have very specific instructions to ensure they don't go bad. They should be heat cycled prior to your first event, shouldn't be used or stored in temperatures near or below freezing, and should be rotated often to prolong their lifespan. Most are not very good in wet conditions. Even with proper care, I only get about 20 to 25 events, roughly 3,000 miles, out of my autocross tires. Coming from cars that run 315s on all four corners, it's going to be interesting autocrossing on 245s. But now that I've improved and dialed in my suspension, I know I'm going to get everything I can out of the rubber I've got. That means, when it's time to slow down, I better have the right brake pads. ThoroughbRED has OEM 94/04 Cobra front and rear brakes with power stop cross-drilled and slotted rotors and Hawk HPS pads, a 1993 Cobra master cylinder, and an SSBC proportioning valve. You want to use the brakes as little as possible out on course. When you do use your brakes, you want it to be for the least amount of time. Eliminating and reducing braking can chop seconds off of your runs. There are a ton of performance brake pad options out there. Like tires, doing some experimenting will help you choose which pads you prefer. Back in 2016, my brakes didn't have the initial bite I needed to use a split-second poke of the pedal to settle the nose of the car prior to turning. So I'm upgrading to Hawk HP Plus pads up front. The ferrocarbon friction material offers incredible initial bite, handles the high temps associated with performance driving, provides consistent braking feel, and best of all, can still be used to drive to and from my events. For the rear brakes, I'm sticking with the Hawk HPS pads because Fox Body Mustangs converted to 94/04 Cobra brakes can lock up the rear discs if you use aggressive rear pads. I also want to cover myself in the event I need to use the proportioning valve to dial out some of the front brake bias to help with weight transfer and reduce the possibility of locking up the front discs. I've made significant changes to the overall weight and weight balance of my car, so it's possible that I'll be able to upgrade to HP Plus pads in the rear without any negative effects, but I'll decide on that after a few events. It's really important that you bed in the HP Plus pads properly. You can't just install them and head out for a drive or to an autocross. And they do make noise under normal driving conditions. These pads also throw off a lot of dust, and they will chew up your rotors much faster than street pads. With the BF Goodrich Rival S 1.5 tires and Hawk HP Plus front brake pads installed, ThoroughbRED is finally ready to take on CAM-T competition in 2020. The added grip will allow me to carry more speed into, through, and out of elements. The better braking means I can shorten my braking zones and the amount of time I'm using my brakes. These mods let the car do what it was built to do: attack every last inch of the course. Part 6 of this series will focus on the final reveal and the first results of the season.